This week on NWP. Screw it. Let's do another 3 hours on E3 2015. What do you say, guys? And welcome to Nerds Without Pants, episode 74, where we are not going to be talking about E3 2015 because we did that so much last week, guys. If you missed it, just go back and listen to that. I am Julian, and I'm joined, as always, by Patrick.
I'm joining him. I did it.
He did. And Angelo.
You are joined. Hi, I'm here too.
And this is it's episode 74. The episode before the big episode 75, which is also our 3-year anniversary spectacular. Now, I know some of your listeners like to wait till the last minute, but this is it. This is the last minute. And I have yet to receive any audio recordings and greetings from anybody. So I'm going to tell you one more time, we are going to record the first week in July for episode 75. And we want to hear from you, the listeners. So if you would like to send us an audio greeting, an audio message, whatever, send that to me at my Pixelbit email. It is julian@pixelbit.com. Please use the subject line NWP75. We'd love to be able to splice some of those in there. I'm already working on some fun stuff for the show anyway. It's going to be a special thing, but it would be even more special to hear from some of you. So just putting that out there one last time. Patrick is injured. He just hurt himself.
I'm bleeding.
He just hurt himself for your listening enjoyment. Ow. Everybody.
Is that a paper cut from your comic books?
Yeah.
Is it really?
No. It is a lot of blood. I think I gotta go to the hospital. No. Yeah, I just picked a scab.
Oh, really, dude?
Yeah. This is bound to happen.
That's a lot of... Okay, well, no, I don't... No. I'm not going to go into it.
Sometimes that volcano's got to erupt,
No, just no. I would take the time to go into that, but we have to be brief. I am getting ready to go on vacation this week, and this show has to be a shorter one than normal. So we can't spend the time to address Patrick's issues.
Eruptions.
So let's just get into it. This is all just going to be Consumption Junction. It's going to be a modified version. But Angelo, you had something off the top that you wanted to talk about in the interest of promotion. Since we're promoting episode 75, right. There was something that you wanted to get out there as well.
Yeah. So I had the opportunity. I did not know this, but the board game store that is near where I work, they're called Foam Brain Games. They actually are sort of a publisher. What they will do is they will talk to people who have developed games and worked with them to get together a good production to put on Kickstarter, and then help them get their game kickstarted, which is really cool. So I was in the shop one day when the guy was talking about it, and I said, "Hey, they had a new game coming out," and I said, "If you want to let me take a look at it, I'll talk about it on the show for you and kind of spread the word a little bit." And he said, "Sure." So I went in there, and they brought it out. The name of the game is Alien Labyrinth. It is by a man named Robert Huss, and I think this might even be his first published game. I'm not sure. Basically, the way that they did this was they went to a convention, and the guy called it publisher speed dating. So basically, they sat there, and the people that wanted to pitch games came through. They got 5 minutes to do their elevator pitch, and then it was on to the next one. And if anybody caught their interest, they called back. So this guy caught their interest, and I can kind of see why. So what happened was, basically what it is. Let me back up real quick. Everything I saw was placeholder art. They told me that a lot of the stuff was going to change. One of the things they were changing, for example, was the font on the back of the cards. It was actually really cool. It was like this jaggedy, it said Alien Labyrinth. And then even if you turned the card upside down, it still said Alien Labyrinth on it.
Huh.
But they're ditching it because I'm imagining this, but they said they're redoing the writing on it, despite how cool it is, because it doesn't really fit the feel of the game. The feel of the game is actually goofy, and this looks like intense and a little like might be creepy alien stuff like that. This is nothing like that.
So Comic Sans all the way.
Well, no, let's not take things too far.
Sarah.
So the gist of it is everybody has a little meeple that they put in the middle of the board, and it starts in the sleeping pod in the middle, and there is a saucer basically made out of flipped over cards. In the version I played, they were cards, so if I call them cards, that's what I mean, but they are going to be tiles, so they're going to be a little bit nicer. And you get 4 movement points. When you move to a tile that has not been explored yet and flip it over, that ends your move and absorbs all your movement points. So as soon as you do that, your turn is over. But exploring an unexplored tile allows you to draw a card. So the object of the game is to get 10 space bucks and escape the spacecraft. Mm-hmm. But it's a little bit goofy. So it's not the theme, like I said, is really goofy. So what it really is you're getting 10 space bucks to pay a space taxi, but there's only one space taxi because that's the only way off the spacecraft. And there's 4 of you competing for this. And the reason they put a goofy flair on it is because the whole game is like kind of fun, kind of silly, messing with each other. There are very few cards that let you outright attack other people. There's basically 4 different types of cards. There's food, gadgets, weapons, and armor or clothing. The main point of this is you're going to get as many of these as you can and sell them for space bucks. You can exchange them in other ways. Some spaces let you exchange them to get more cards. Some places let you trade them in for a little money. Some let them trade you for a lot. Here's the real catch of the game, though. For your 4 movement points, you can either move your character over to an adjacent tile if the tiles have rooms like doors that are connected, or you can spin the tiles. So what you're doing is every tile has a little arrow on it, and you can spend one of your movement points to turn this tile. So if someone's trying to get somewhere and they're on a tile, you can spin that tile, and now it's pointing the other way. And the only way for them to get it back is to spend like 2 or 3 movement points to get a door over to the door that they're trying to get to.
So it's sort of like a Munchkin thing where part of the goal is to just like screw everybody else over while you're furthering your own goals.
Yep. Kind of the drawback to the whole placeholder art thing is I didn't get to see all the cute stuff that they said was going to be on the board. The guy, Andrew, who gave me the original pitch, showed me some of it on his like tablet, and it looks kind of cute and goofy, like you'd expect. Like there's an alien sitting behind a cash register for some of the ones where you're like trading in gadgets for money. But as I saw now, the demo version with all the placeholder art, not a whole lot of that came through, but I still got the feeling that this was going to be a silly, quick game. It takes about like maybe 5 minutes to learn, and it takes maybe about 10, 15 minutes to play.
Oh, nice. Depending
on how many players you have. It looks like it's not going to be expensive. The box was pretty small, so it could almost be like kind of an impulse buy thing. It did not play well with 2 people. That's my only complaint, is I played it with one other person, and we didn't get a lot of that engagement. But just the little amount we messed with each other, I can only imagine what it's like when you have 4 people going, and they're like, "Hey, that guy's ahead. He's heading toward the taxi. We gotta mess with him to make sure he can't get there." There's cards that let you reset rooms back to unexplored. There's cards that act like armor, so if you get shot with a weapon, it doesn't work. Usually, you have to discard those cards if you use them that way. So if you have a clothing card that says, if somebody attacks you with a weapon, you can undo that. That attack doesn't work, but then you have to discard the armor. Of course, they discard the weapon because they used it too. So, but by doing that, you're getting rid of resources that you could turn into space bucks that you could use to escape on the taxi. So it's fun. Again, I think really only fun with higher amounts of players, but it's quick.
Did they say what the player count was supposed to be?
2 to 4 players.
Because it sounds like a perfect 4-player game.
It sounds like a perfect 4-player game. But again, that's I can't say it's going to be for everybody, because it's not going to be a fun like, oh hey, my wife and I are bored tonight, let's play a game of this. It won't be fun that way. But say if we're around with the kids and we've got like a half hour to kill, it's something to break out and be like, hey, let's play this real quick, and then we'll get in the car and go where we got to go. So I liked it. I think maybe, your mileage may vary depending on the type of people you're with. Obviously, you don't want to play this game with people who are going to get annoyed by you messing with them. So keep that in mind if you're looking for it has a little bit of that sorry aspect to it where you're just deliberately screwing people. So don't play that with people that can't handle it. But if you get the right kind of people and you get 4 of them, this looks like it could be a lot of fun. So that was my little experience with that. And I like I said, I enjoyed the game. I could see picking it up for my family, especially since it has such a small footprint. And my wife is concerned about space. It takes up very, very little space. So that's going on Kickstarter, by the way.
Okay, yeah.
I've mentioned they're a Kickstarter publisher. I forgot that part, didn't I? It's going on Kickstarter on Tuesday. Foam Brain Games is the publisher again, and the designer was Robert Huss. So,
and the name of the game again?
That's it.
What's of the game again?
Alien
That's
Labyrinth.
right. Which, I don't know, for some reason just kind of recalls like some old Sega arcade memories to me.
It does have kind of like that kind of a name to it. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Maybe just the name Labyrinth kind of triggers that too. That kind of era. That's definitely an 80s that movie. So
very cool.
Yeah.
Well, Patrick, you look woozy. Are you okay there, buddy? With the blood loss? You still with us?
Oh, that's why. Well, yeah. I'm on a high right now, definitely. In case you didn't know, like right before this, I got 7 wins in Hearthstone for the first time ever.
For the arena mode.
And that's the only thing I did before
going.
Yeah, right. No, I started 1 and 2, and then I got 6 wins in a row, and I still can keep going. But like, it's time to record. Oh man, it's like I haven't done that, and like I played maybe 50 times through it, and this is the first time. It's really hard, and I was like, I thought I had a good deck when I was like 1 and 2, and then all of a sudden, bam, bam, bam. Thank you, Zombie Chow. Thank you. Best opening card in the game. You need to start with that. I think 5 out of the 6 times that I started with him, I won or something like that.
Nice. Incidentally, I don't even know where it was. I was watching something on YouTube on my phone, and had the little ad beforehand, and it had an ad for Hearthstone for like the mobile app.
Yeah,
it's a really cool little commercial. Like,
is it the one with Tinkmaster Overspark?
The one where they're doing it sort of like a sporting event type thing where they have commentators.
Yeah, so that played during the NHL finals.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and not once, like a lot.
That's bizarre. Awesome. They're going for friggin' Game of War level of penetration.
Yeah, and I think they might get there. Like, oh my god, it's so good. I feel so accomplished now. It's hard.
Yeah, I haven't played it too much recently, but really just because I've been so busy with work and podcasting. That's been keeping me hopping. I last week was just burning the candle on both ends, something fierce, and I still really haven't quite recovered. And then I was like, oh, but I've got Nerds Without Pants and Slam Masters and packing, and did a little something over like on Sunday and Monday for our best of episode. So it's been time consuming, but
I was just gonna say the same thing, is that I like haven't had much time off either, and that's why I just play that here and there. Like when I wake up myself and like get my brain going.
Yeah,
I play a game, but then like I play like 1 or 2 after work, and then I have like something else to do every day. It seems.
Yeah, same here. I did manage to get to the comic book store last week to pick up Batman 41. Which I would like to hear your thoughts on. We still haven't gotten around to doing our Endgame recap thingy, and I still want to do that, but I think we can talk about issue 41, kind of divorced of that. So I guess slight spoilers. It's really not even really spoilers, because they came out and made a big deal about this already, like in the news and stuff like that. Unless you just like are completely in the black on comic books. The new Batman is James Gordon. Everybody.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! Wait!
You know what?
I think I was at the video game store the other day, and somebody showed me a picture of him. Does he look like the Tick? Is that what I'm thinking of?
Wait, he's not just James Gordon. He's also Jason Todd. I think Jason Todd at the end of Convergence 2 of 2 also puts on the Batman cowl.
Huh.
He's like, all right, well, somebody's got to do it.
Interesting. Because, okay, that's a weird thing. But,
yeah, I think so.
But no, I would say he looks more like one of the mechs from, like, Pat Labor. Or, am I thinking of that right? Or is it? He looks like an anime. It looks like an anime mech. And they actually do in the issue, they kind of make fun of the suit, because at one point they say that he doesn't look like a bat, he looks like a bunny, like some sort of robo bunny.
I was gonna say, when I looked at it, it looked like a cross between the Tick, a Warhammer 40k Space Marine, and maybe War Machine from the Iron Man comics, maybe just because of the shoulder-mounted things.
Yeah,
I think Batman brought something out like this recently that was like even a little bit bigger though, when he had to face all of the superheroes, or he thought he was going to have to.
Yeah, the beginning of Endgame. Yeah, he had that like contingency plan for if he ever had to fight the Justice League, and it was that super suit that was designed to take them all down separately. This is a lot more streamlined, and you know, when I first started reading this issue, I thought it was going to be so dumb. Just the design of the suit, and just the idea of James Gordon being Batman, because also like I've always thought of Gordon as like in his late 50s, and they even like straight out say that in the comic. Like Bullock says, like, "What are you, man? Like 57?" He's like, "I'm 46, Harvey." He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry." But
yeah, he smokes a lot of cigars, and so he would look a little older, right? I mean,
he just lived hard.
Sense. The bigger thing here that I think is going to be great by having Jim Gordon be another Batman is they can have like another Dark Knight Returns story whenever they want to. They just flash back to this time, and someone else can write another Dark Knight story, not starring Bruce Wayne, of course, against Superman, but with, you know, Jim Gordon against whoever.
Yeah, and you know, the thing that sold me on it is that the suit is sort of like his squad car. Because he's working within the law. Like he is fully sanctioned by the government and by the GCPD to be doing this. So the suit is really like his Batmobile. And then he gets out of the suit and he's got a full on, like, really slimmed down, like, Batman costume without a cape. And, you know, they kind of established that this version of Jim Gordon, like the New 52 version, like, you know, he's a former Marine. You know, we saw Patrick in Batman Eternal that he can kick some pretty good ass. Like, you know, he fought off like an entire, like he was in prison, and during a
he was in Rikers.
Yeah, and during a riot, he held his own against everybody that wanted to kill him. It was almost like a Rorschach type thing from Watchmen.
Yeah, and it did seem kind of that way now that you mention it, but like without a mask on. I think like Jim also turned some of Penguin's minions against him. Like he was not only forceful, but he was smart about it too. And for the record, I was talking about the comic. It might actually not be the Dark Knight Returns, but what did Frank Miller write? The Dark Knight?
Yeah, it was Dark Knight. Yeah.
Okay, but anyway, that kind of story. I didn't mean the movie.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know about you, Patrick, but I ended up coming away from this first Jim Gordon issue like really, really pleased and interested in what they're going to do next.
I like it, but then I was like, oh my god, they already brought Bruce Wayne back, maybe? Like, in the last panel, like, they might have gone past him, and that would mean in the very first panel after he's dead, they show him alive again.
Well, they showed him alive in issue 40, like, after he was supposed to be dead. There's a panel where he's walking with Robin. He's walking with Damian. Like, it's very obvious.
Oh, okay. Well, you confused me because you were saying he was dead, and I was like, I thought he didn't die.
Well, he died in comic book form, you know, with big quotations, heavy quotations. Like, there's a panel in that issue where he dies, where he and Joker die, where it's a silhouette of two figures walking, and it's a man he's got bandages all over his face, and he's in a sling. And he's walking next to this young boy who has the Robin symbol on his jacket. And it's like, oh, well, there's Bruce and Damian. You know, they're just, you know, going off somewhere. So I knew, you know, we knew he was fine. And again, like, I don't want to get into it now because I want us to do it like something proper later. But, you know, I did think that Endgame story was like a perfect final Batman Joker story. Which hopefully that's what it is. You know, maybe because eventually they're going to get rid of all this New 52 stuff and then they'll go back. But at least for this version of the universe, like I would like that to be the last Joker story for New 52. I think that was like a perfect end cap for it. But
the Joker in the New 52 has been like all sorts of crazy violent and way higher level intensity than he has been ever before. So I think that it would only make sense to like end it so quickly.
Yeah, and also because I don't really want a bunch of other writers like getting their hands on this version of him because it might dilute some of that impact a little bit.
Yeah, it's been so good for like the last 5 years though. What more can you ask?
Yeah. So, but you had a big old stack there. You said you got caught up.
Yeah, almost completely. I mean, definitely with Batman. And I even got some other Batman stuff like Convergence. That's how I knew what happened in there. I got like Robin, Son of Batman, #1. And there's like this big guy that I've never seen Robin with before. I texted you a picture of that, but he's like this big, giant red beast. Like, looks like Beast from X-Men, except he's got wings like a dragon or something like that. It's ridiculous. I've never seen him before in my life, but he's like just all of a sudden next to Robin. And I looked up his name in the like records and stuff, and it wasn't even popping up. So I'm not sure if that's a new character or with the name of a character who was a villain before or what like that's about.
That was the impression that I got because I did see the ad for that book when I picked up Red Hood and Arsenal, which it's sort of like the new spin-off of Red Hood and the Outlaws, which was one of my favorite New 52 books that I had fallen off of.
Well, I mean, I don't know if I'm going to keep up with that, but it was just like 40% off and I needed to go $1 over $50 to get $5 back. So it was like, it was right there. It was okay, but the Detective Comics Convergence was a lot better than I thought because something actually happened and, what's his name? Dick Grayson puts on the cowl. So that was fun. The new Detective Comics, it's like, okay, it's centered around Bullock a lot. So like, if you want a story like that, it was kind of fun, but that was kind of forgettable. And, then I caught up with Spider-Man too. He only had 3 comics in the time since I've been going, but like they ended up concluding the Black Cat story. It was okay. There's only 3 parts. Spiral. It was made by this guy, Jerry Conway, instead of Dan Slott. And it felt way different. Like Dan Slott is the guy who's written over a third of all the Spider-Man comics. So he's like, if you've been reading him, or if you read any Spider-Man comic in like the last 15 years, he wrote it. And I don't know. Those are better, I guess. And the one that they're doing right now is kind of high stakes, and like Parker Industries is like falling to the ground, and it's like, is Peter a good manager of people, or is he like not? Is he absent? And he's mostly absent, but like he has to atone for it sometimes. And yeah, definitely also has some Black Cat in it too. They're really pushing her, and like at the end, it's like, nothing's gonna hold me back. Like, so they're really trying to bring her into being a bigger villain, I think, because he kissed her and all that stuff. So it's nice. But I heard they're also doing like he's getting a family again. They've already like billed it as the worst mistake. What if you could go back on like the worst mistake that we've ever made? Like what if? So he's like, I don't know if any of this is gonna matter in a month.
They won't.
Does Black Cat have her own series now? Did she ever?
I'm not sure. I never read it. She's cool in this, but
maybe they're trying to get her to the point where they can spin her off.
Yeah,
I like she has been around because friend of the show John Golson gave me this issue of Howard the Duck. It was the first issue, and they mentioned her in there. Like apparently she's like some big she's becoming like some sort of big crime boss in the city and stuff like that. It's like, all right, that's that's also what Catwoman's doing, guys. So that's weird. That
in this she's working with like Tombstone and Hammerhead, I think it is, and they're both in jail at some point, and then like all of her guys, she's trying to turn against them, and it's like about like the decision she has to make, like how to get them under her control. and if she does or not.
And then and Catwoman is working with Killer Croc, and she's dealing with how to get all of the guys under her control.
I wonder what's going to happen next year.
all I know, I mean, I was starting to get back into Marvel, and some of the stuff that they're hinting at looked good, but I've got to wait until October until they get all of this like Secret Wars crap out of the way. So, I won't have to worry about buying a bunch of stuff for a while. It's really kind of just Batman because there's no Thor being published until October either. So my pocket, is heavier. Like I've got more cash to walk around with right now.
Me too. I was like struggling to make $50 even, and with like Eternal out and all the stuff that we were getting that was like every week, and like the ones when you had to get like all the 3D comic covers, like that was a bunch of weeks where there were tons of things to buy, and like thank God it's slowed down.
Yeah, I can
gives us a way out.
I can definitely. Yeah, it's actually kind of a problem. Like both DC and Marvel are kind of giving everybody a chance to jump off the train. It's a good place to jump on, but it's also a good place to get off. So, and there's a few things that I'm jumping off of, but we'll see. There's some stuff that I might be checking out once they start publishing. The new Avengers, that looks interesting with like the new Ms. Marvel and Captain Falcon America, and I don't know what they're called. I think they're just calling him Captain America, but it's Falcon, as Captain America, and just changing up the team there. Kid Nova, just different flavor for the Avengers. So, and Thor, the Goddess of Thunder, and I'm loving her book. So her being on the Avengers.
They just launched there's a Thor's #1 that came out this week. You probably should check out. I don't know too much about it, but it's with all Secret Wars stuff. So
yeah, my comic book shop guy was like, it's basically like any 90s like police procedural. He said like there's actually like the equivalent of like a turn in your badge line, and I was like, no, that's all right. You're a loose cannon, Thor.
Yeah. Well, with them giving you a way out, it's kind of great to focus on just something like that I've been reading, and it's still great. Like God is Dead. They're all the way up to issue 36 now. Like, it seems like just yesterday that started, and like the stakes just keep getting higher. Like in this, you have Mammon fighting against Gaia, and Leviathan, the Leviathan, the 3-headed dragon at the center of the earth, that has to come out to like make everything okay again. And like even if everything in the world might like disappear and die, he will still live through the end of the universe kind of battle. And like Gaia, who's like the earth itself fighting for her own life with like other titans and all this stuff, and like gods that are dying left and right.
Does Lavos show up at some point? I mean, while we're at it.
I mean, probably sometime soon. It's like drawing from every kind of mythological reference, and when are they going to
I say that in jest, but if that did happen, that would be freaking awesome.
Yeah.
I might have to get that book.
That would get Angelo to buy a comic book.
It would.
Cupid commands an army, and like a secret army. It's crazy. And he's powerful too.
A secret army of love assassins.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like there'll be like a god who's like, there's no reason to even like go on with any of this. I don't even know why I have like a point or stake in any of this. And Cupid will be like, now you do. And he shoots him and like makes him fall in love with somebody. He's like, God damn it.
What you're telling me is that the guys that are making God of War need to read this comic book since they've run out of gods in the God of War franchise for Kratos to kill.
Definitely. If they read this, they should just like adapt it, really. And make like a multiplayer God versus God game. Oh yeah,
they did that. They did that.
Really?
Wasn't that the whole point behind? Yeah, War Gods. Yeah, Midway did it. It was not. It wasn't good.
It wasn't good. No. I mean, they should do it well though.
Was that one of the ones that they were trying to emulate Mortal Kombat a little bit too hard?
Well, I mean, it was. I think it might have. I don't know if it was the actual Mortal Kombat team, but yeah, it was Midway, and it was.
There was that span though where like everybody wanted to be like, oh, let's do the bloody Mortal Kombat thing. Yeah. It was during that, I think.
Well, yeah, but this was also maybe less egregious because it was like from the same
people.
But yeah, and that was one of those few like N64 fighting games, so that tells you that it was high quality.
Yeah. Well, you know what is high quality? Second good tangent in a row. Segue.
Whoop whoop.
Star Wars. I went with issue 1 of Star Wars and Star Wars Darth Vader because they both had director's cuts, and I was like, "Damn, I've been so high on Star Wars. This just comes out this week. I'm getting it," because it was like right there for me. Like I was supposed to buy it, and yeah, so I did buy it, and they're great. It's like right after Return of the Jedi, and like everybody who's seen the movies can just totally pick up with number 1. And then Darth Vader's right after number 1. Like good infiltration mission. It's kind of like, dang, the gang's back together. Like everybody really liked when they infiltrated the Death Star before, right? So like that would make sense to start off with like a story that was like that. Darth Vader, or it's kind of maybe even weaving when that happens together, but like it seems like it takes place after.
Okay, I was going to say, if this takes place after Return of the Jedi, I've got a spoiler for you.
No, they talk about the Death Star. This might be between the first and second one. The first.
That would make a lot more sense.
That makes sense. Okay, and then Darth Vader. Yeah. Okay. I placed it wrong.
I mean,
Luke Skywalker had 2 hands. What was I thinking?
There are things in that episode 7 trailer that make it seem like there could still be a Darth Vader around. So I don't know. Like
they're Sith, so
no, but specifically Vader. I don't know. Oh, by the way, did you guys see that Star Wars music video done to the lyrics or to the tune of "Let It Go" from Frozen with Darth Vader?
Oh no!
Oh, it's so fantastic.
No.
It's so good. Holy crap!
Yeah. I don't know, man.
It's really good.
I might be over Let It Go music parodies. Star Wars mockery.
I thought I was too, and then I listened to that, and yeah.
You know, Darth Vader 1 is also like really good, and I didn't think it was gonna be. Like the reason is you actually get in to Darth Vader's like helmet, like he's thinking and stuff, and it's like a good characterization of him. Like it would suck if like they make him out to be a wuss, but
yeah.
So basically, it wasn't the characterization from the end of the prequels.
No. Yeah, no, he was not a wuss at all.
Good.
He's actually got words with Jabba the Hutt, and he like Jabba the Hutt's funny.
Does that end with him slapping Jabba the Hutt? Because that's the only way I can see that ending acceptably.
I guess he's kind of a wuss in this. You know, he doesn't slap Jabba, but Jabba cannot fall for Jedi mind tricks.
Right.
So, yeah, that was cool because Darth Vader tried.
He clearly didn't watch Return of the Jedi.
Yeah. So, no, yeah. This is probably weaving that part in. You're right. And then after that is when they finally meet Boba Fett, and that was a great moment.
Boba Fett? Sorry.
And Boba Fett's in it for like more than 1 minute. I mean, depending on how slow you read.
It's just, for some reason, I always say that whenever I hear Boba Fett's name. It's one of my favorite Han Solo lines.
I am Kratos the Destroyer, I'm the harbinger of death. All of the gods tremble before me as they draw their final breath. In my first 12 kings I murdered every lord the earth has seen. Now what immortal foes await me here in God of War 13?
Kratos, you are power mad, you're evil and insane. Your killing streak was vicious, now only a lesser gods remain. You slay my father Ares, the overlord of endless war. So now your face me cherries, the overlord of cheers and roars. Let's do this! World's out of control. Since then it's planet gone. Kratos killed them all. Now we're running out of gods. The ones that we have left, they're not the best, but they're the best I love to bet. So here comes Hermes, the god of busting nuts. Mighty Hercules, he's the lord of kicking butts. And no, not all is lost. We have the sword and sacred god of sushi sauce.
Well, I have not really had any time for games since episode 73, because it's just been all E3 all the time. but I did something gaming related, so I'm here to save y'all. From this almost was like a not video game episode of Nerds Without Pants, and we can't have that.
No.
I went to the Legend of Zelda Symphony of the Goddesses last weekend.
So it's still music.
Yeah, but it's video game music. Which, if you listen to the show, if you've listened to it in any capacity, you know that I am not the biggest Zelda fan. But that doesn't keep me from appreciating the video game industry as a whole. And I've played enough Zelda to where I thought that I would know enough of the tunes to really be like, oh yeah, there's that one. That wasn't the case, but it was still a lot of fun. I had missed the concert the first time it came to town. So I definitely didn't want to miss it this time. And I don't remember what my thinking was, but at the time I bought 2 tickets for it, which is strange for me because it was after my ex had broken up with me, and I definitely wasn't feeling hopeful. So I don't know why I would have gotten 2, except for the fact that I guess I always do stuff like that by myself. And I was like, not this time. I'm going to find somebody to go with me, even if it's just a friend. And then as it got closer, I realized, I haven't asked anybody. And I was like, well, you know what? I don't do stuff with my mom very often like I should. And she's never really seen any of the stuff that I'm interested in. She's never really taken an interest in it. And I was like, you know what? Like, let me do an experiment. Like, I believe that video game music is something that is legit fantastic music that could be appreciated by people who have no context for what it comes from. I was like, let me try. So, my mom being a fan of classical music and going to see shows like that, I was like, let's go. And she agreed. And so we went to go see Symphony of the Goddesses. And, spoiler alert, she had a really good time. She really enjoyed the music. It was a great orchestration. They hit, they hit a lot of the series. Don't get me wrong. I guess my thing was like, I feel like I never actually heard like the theme to Legend of Zelda or like the overworld to Legend of Zelda, and maybe part of that's because they've actually kind of gotten away from that actively, like since the, Zelda 64, like they've kind of taken those themes slowly out of the series and they've kind of made the stuff that was in Ocarina of Time become the new recurring themes of the soundtracks,
They still should have had like a 6-second sample in between 2 songs or something like that. That was like the original overworld theme.
That's what I would have liked. It weaves into some of the tracks, from some of the later games. It's present, but it was never like the focal point. But I really enjoyed it. Having only played a handful of the Zelda games to completion, well, really just a couple of them, and then a lot of them, having stepped far away from. A lot of the music was completely new to me. Definitely had not heard it before. The only complaint that I really had about the concert was that I don't think it did a really great job of getting across the legacy of the series. Like when it first started off, they definitely showed like, footage of The Legend of Zelda 1, and then they went through the series. They went, Zelda 2, Zelda 3, Ocarina of Time, and so on. But I thought there would have been like a little bit more time spent on kind of letting people know like how important of a series it is, like how it started. They did have like some little interludes from Miyamoto, Aonuma, and Koji Kondo. The Final Fantasy Distant Worlds concert was did a little bit better job of that, but I think I was also a little spoiled with that because I actually had Nobuo Uematsu at that concert. So that, you don't get that at every single Distant Worlds concert, so I was a little spoiled there. But like Video Games Live is one of those where I think it's really like this big celebration of, hey, video game music is fantastic and everybody should, enjoy it. And it's this thing that transcends, this nerdy hobby of ours. And didn't quite get that with this concert. But at the same time, like the fact that my mom really enjoyed herself and seeing people of all ages really enjoying it was really neat. And little funny aside. So they were showing like tweets from the audience on the screen, like before and during the intermission. And at some point somebody says like, can't wait for that Reggie amiibo. And there was this kid, he's probably like 12, like 2 rows ahead of me. And I heard him go like talk to his mom and he's like, oh yeah, well Reggie is like so-and-so at Nintendo and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, there's something really cool and creepy about that at the same time, because on one hand it's like, oh wow, they did it. Like everybody knows who Reggie is. But on the other hand, it's like, kid, you shouldn't know who this like corporate guy from Nintendo is, but you do. But then again, you know, like Angelo and I knew who Howard Phillips was because of the Howard and Nestor comics and Nintendo Power. So you know, they were just doing that again. But
I didn't really understand his significance. I'll give you that. But I knew
who he was.
You know, I knew who he was.
And then in the ultimate fail, I forgot my damn 3DS.
Oh
no! So much Street Pass potential.
The harvest
squandered.
Yeah.
I was myself. We were almost halfway there, and I almost turned around. I was that, and it was by my head because I'd actually Street Pass the night before because Nintendo was doing special E3 Street Pass characters every day for E3, and so I just Street Passed the night before. It was right by my head when I woke up that day. I'm definitely taking it to the convention, the comic convention I'm going to in August, because the one that I went to with John in Houston, I only got like 20 total over 2 days.
Dang.
Yeah, I was like disappointed.
Walking in the door to C2E2.
I know. Yeah, I was disappointed in Houston, man. I never even filled it up one time. Like the most I ever had at one time was 6, and I was like, what's going on, guys?
What's the max?
10. You have to do 10. Yeah, you can get 10 before you have to clear it out.
Oh, yeah. I was getting 10 a lot, and I think I was just like, I can't keep opening it.
Right.
I got to move on.
Yeah, at some point it does become a little bit overwhelming because, like, I was, like, walking around at that convention, like, you know, doing Find Me. I'm like, this is getting time-consuming, guys, and I haven't even bought the other games that have come out since. But...
yeah, I'm not doing that. Nope.
I thought you were all about the Street Passes.
No, my wife was the one who's all about the Street Passes. My kids love them, and I kind of do it. I don't know. Like, I do it because they do it, if that makes sense. That is not my favorite feature of the 3DS, but of course I do it. I mean, okay, I was definitely into it, like, when I first got the 3DS, because it was new and exciting, but that kind of wore off pretty fast.
Man, those puzzles, though. Like, the puzzles are getting...
wore off
So that's the whole thing. Like, there's that addictive quality to it, for sure, but it's kind of like Patrick with Destiny, where it's like, it's more of an addictive thing than it is a fun thing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and once you're off it, like you can't go back. You just got to cut it out completely.
Yeah. Every time I go to turn on my 3DS, I think I need to finish Bravely Default, and then I don't turn on my 3DS.
Yeah.
Same thing with me and Shin Megami Tensei 4.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I guarantee you the back half of that game is not as bad as the back half of Bravely Default. As much as I love the front half of Bravely Default, the back half of that game is horrible.
Oh, don't tell me that, because I think that I actually got to that part. I got to the, I think it's the side quest to get the Red Mage job, and it...
No, you're good.
No? Okay, because that was becoming a slog. That quest was just, like, snooze-worthy for me. And,
yeah, that's not it.
Okay.
I wish I could tell you that was it, because that's not that bad.
What, Patrick?
Is it because it's so easy?
No.
It's monotonous. Or tedious, maybe.
Well, I guess, the quest, but I don't know why Angelo has problems with the back half.
Shin Megami Tensei is just hard. It's not like it's not fun. The story's great.
When you get there, Julian, you will understand.
Is it story-based, or is it, like, mechanics?
Yes.
Okay. So you can't go into it. Okay, that's fair.
No.
Yeah, I feel the same way about Bravely Default, and also Majora's Mask, and also Monster Hunter, and also... no, actually, I think that's it. Because I actively decided I wasn't going to finish Project Cross Zone because at some point those battles just become too long and too boring. Like,
me too.
I love that game, but they need to make the AI actually do stuff. Like, they don't move until you get within a few spaces of them, and it's like those battlefields are too long, and there's too many enemies to kill, and they're not getting anywhere.
And you win all the time.
Yeah. It's fun to watch all the animations and do the combos, but you know, it needs a little bit more.
My problem was I already played that game before when it was Super Robot Taisen Original Generations, something Saga GM. I don't know, some crazy convoluted title that they came out with.
Yeah, but it didn't have Capcom and Sega and Namco Bandai characters.
No, it had Namco Bandai and that other franchise that I'm not familiar with, that the game is named after.
the Super Robot Tyson?
Super Robot Tyson, yeah.
Never heard of it.
Well, I mean, it was Super Robot Wars, which originally it was all like, at first it was just Gundam. and then I think it was like Gundam and Macross, and they just started throwing more and more. So eventually you had like Gundam, Macross, Manzinger Z, Evangelion, like basically all of the big like notable mechs from anime were in these games. And that's the reason why they never got ported over here, was because the licensing on that would be ridiculous.
Right. And
I even think,
yeah, at least for one of them.
Yeah, and in this case, it wasn't, I believe, because I'm not too familiar with Super Robot Tyson, it wasn't even the ones that were licensed. It was the ones that they had made up as kind of filler mechs.
Right, yeah, because I have a Super Robot Wars for DS, I believe, and it's all original characters. So that's how they were able to get that over here. I like a good strategy RPG. I was actually thinking.
Oh wait, I gotta back up because Cosmos was in that.
Oh, okay.
And who else? There's a couple other characters.
Well,
anyway,
I mean,
there's crossovers from other games.
She would fall into the Namco Bandai banner, so
yeah, they were Namco Bandai crossovers basically.
I always wanted her to show up in one of the Soul Calibur games. I thought she would have been perfect.
Yeah, she really would have.
Yeah,
which will be fun because I'm heading out to Colorado on vacation this weekend. As this episode is going up, that's where I will be, and I'm looking forward to messing up my friend Shanna on some Soul Calibur 4 because we haven't done that in ages, and that's going to be a lot of fun. So.
I haven't gotten much a chance to play it, but my kids have been playing a lot of Splatoon.
Yeah.
I don't know if I mentioned that before on the show.
You mentioned that it was good on one of our E3 episodes, but you have not actually said anything about it. Like,
yeah, I want to hear about it, like the bosses and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Like the story, they play all the story stuff while I'm away at work, so I don't get to see it. I come home and they're doing multiplayer. But they did go through the story stuff, and I saw a little bit of it. The bosses that I did see were very Nintendo-like, where it was find a weak spot, exploit the weakness, figure out how to do it. There was one where the boss would like spray paint everywhere and then roll and then kind of come at you. And what you had to do is spray a stream of your paint or ink over where it was, which would make it go slower. And then eventually it would start to sink into your ink. And then when it was sinking, you could shoot it. So it was that kind of thing. Like it's a very Nintendo boss.
Yeah. Which is to say almost, like a fantastic boss because they make great bosses.
Yeah. That was like the only one I really got to see, but if they're all of that level where it's like, oh, we have to think about this a little bit, then that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So
I didn't actually realize that there was a story component to it until just recently. I thought it was a straight up multiplayer only game.
The meat of it is definitely the multiplayer. Yeah. Like they seem to kind of tear through the single player part of it.
But it almost sounds like the mechanics there are deep enough to where it could warrant an actual full on game, full on like single player story campaign type thing.
DLC maybe.
Yeah, they've been going pretty crazy with that DLC, like giving people good stuff. Like when JD said that the Street Fighter or that stuff was already available for Smash Brothers, it made me want to actually run out and buy Smash Brothers like that day because I have not bought it yet, and it's like Ryu in Smash Brothers.
Yeah, dude.
Is that all free?
No, you got to pay for it. And that's the reason I'm hesitant because I wonder if Nintendo's ever going to do that thing where they release they re-release the game with all the DLC in it. But I feel that they wouldn't because Nintendo typically also doesn't lower the price of their games,
right?
Until it's been like 5 years, and they're like, okay, now it's $20, but we knew that we could fleece you for the whole $50 for all this time.
They did start doing humble bundles, so you might see something like that there, but I don't know.
Gamer's Choice, though, like Gamer's Choice versions could be an excuse to update like everything with their patches and stuff like that.
Yeah, I would hope that they would be looking into that because, like, Mario Kart 8, like if I bought Mario Kart 8, I'm probably not likely to buy all the DLC because I'm probably not going to play it like super hardcore. But if I could buy a version of Mario Kart 8 that already had that stuff in there, like even if it was like $59, like if they had lowered the regular Mario Kart down to 40 and then released like the super duper Mario Kart 8 for 60 again, I'd get that version and then just go, and then tinker around with the extra stuff a little bit here and there. And we talked about this, Patrick, on our last E3 special, but like, there's a lot of potential with Mario Maker for DLC.
Yeah. Oh man, is there ever?
Yeah.
That looks so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's what I could picture them doing. Like here's what I see. Like if they look at sales of their games and go, we need to move some more of these. The next first party product that they put out might be like, hey, if you get this, it comes with a voucher for DLC for this game. Not the game, DLC for the game. To kind of make people go, oh yeah, I kind of forgot about that. And then every time they open the case up to take that game out, they see that little sticker in there with the code on it, and there's like, it's free stuff, just waiting for you to pick it up.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, that seems like kind of like their like maybe a Nintendo-y way to kind of bait somebody into something.
Yeah, I think they should definitely like really aggressively explore avenues of, you know, hey, let's give them a little taste for free. Like let's, you know, like just this weekend, let's give you this Smash Brothers character, you know, for free, and then, but maybe that same weekend discount the other ones. So you're like, well, hey, you know, I went ahead and downloaded this one. It reminded me that I really love this game. Let me go ahead and buy these others for a discounted price this weekend only, or that type of thing.
Yeah, and they do something
stuff
similar
like
on 3DS. They have like a really good demo catalog. Like every big game that's going to come out always has a demo before it comes out.
Yeah. Yeah, so they're getting better, smarter with that stuff. It's taken them long enough, but it's nice to see. It seems like there's some people somewhere there that get it finally.
Yeah, it's not just like Eternity, and they have never done it like it seemed like for so long.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about Firewatch? About how I don't get Firewatch?
Sure, we've got a little bit of time.
I don't get Firewatch. I don't get the hype of Firewatch. And I don't mean this in a derogatory way. I mean, like, I looked at all the other stuff at E3 and go, I'm hyped for that. I'm hyped for that. This looks awesome. And Firewatch just went, okay.
Well,
here's the thing. But people seem to be like crazy for it.
Are there people that are crazy for it? Because
a lot of people are talking about it. Like, man, I can't wait to find out more about Firewatch and find out what's going on here. And I'm just like, I don't really care.
I mean, I think my thing, the only reason that I got it, maybe it's because you and I listened to the same show, but like, you know, on one of the Giant Bomb E3 specials, they had a guy from Firewatch on there, and they could never get him to say what the game is. But other than that, I haven't really heard a lot of people talking about it.
Nick said he was pretty excited for it too, though, when we were doing the E3 stuff.
Yeah, he did. But I think it was more, Nick's level of excitement for anything is like 18 notches below most people's level of excitement for something. So
that's true.
Nick's pretty like, well, you need to impress me something fierce before I even give a shit. But no.
I think the reason that I was excited about it though is because it reminded me of the old days of PC gaming. It seemed kind of like Myst or something like that, where you don't really know what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that I think for me, like, I can't say that I'm excited for it because I didn't see enough of it to say that I'm excited for it. I saw enough of it to say that looks interesting. I need to see more of that. And again, like I said it on our first E3 special, but the cheesy hook, or no, it was with Nick. I'm sorry, that cheesy hook of like, you know, if you're not on your tower, who is? Like that worked on me. It was super effective. So.
No, it fell. That was one of the things I was like, my gosh, this writing is not good. Like, there's that other line. She's like, you know, I don't really talk to anybody the same way I talk to you. And I'm like, stop! Don't.
You know what?
Are you seriously using that line? Are you kidding me right now?
What if they're not telling us because they're embarrassed and really all it is a game where you're trying to prevent forest fires?
I mean, there have been firefighter games before that were pretty cool. You know, there was Firefighter FD16 or something for PS2, and there were those ones for Super Nintendo. So
Burning Rangers
is awesome.
Yeah.
Actually, you want to have some real talk about what a 3D Metroid game should be? Go play Burning Rangers. If you want to know what a third-person Metroid game should be, it's Burning Rangers. But then.
And wow, Nintendo has responded kind of about that too. Like, not only was JD pissed, but everybody was, and they had to say, "We just want you to know, like, it's not like close. So we didn't want to like show it to you because we thought you'd be mad if it was going to be like 3-4 years or something." And it's like, well, you do that with Zelda all the time. Are you kidding?
Right. That's total spin, but
it is.
But. You know, but here's the thing, Angelo, going back to the Firewatch thing, my thinking, and maybe it's, you know, we get too much of this, but I was thinking, what if it's like Oblivion, the Tom Cruise movie, where there's like this like really amazing like sci-fi style twist what a twist. Like, you know, I don't know. What if the person you're talking to isn't a human, but she's like a sentient AI or an alien, or it's all a dream? I don't know. Like that game could literally be anything at this point.
Yeah, but I don't care. That's the thing. Like, they haven't done anything to make me care either. Like, if you want to get me to be like, oh man, wouldn't it be great if there was a huge twist in here? Well, give me some reason to want a big twist. I don't even have that.
Yeah. Well, and you know, maybe part of the reaction to it is just the fact that it's like, oh, we've never heard of that before, and it looks different from stuff. Like, there's not a guy. It's not brown and gray, and it's not a guy with a gun shooting things. Like, it's just a person navigating an environment and talking, and
looked kind of cartoony.
Yeah.
There's no HUD really. It just looks like natural.
Yeah. So,
gosh, it's gonna be another walking simulator.
I mean,
I'm saying this tongue in cheek. Don't anybody get offended.
I mean,
here.
that's kind of No Man's Sky, but that I'm kind of all over that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. I think like No Man's Sky has, like, at least No Man's. And I hate to say this, but at least No Man's Sky has combat. Like, there's something. I don't know. Like, that was just kind of like, oh, there is something to do. Okay, cool. And I don't know, maybe by finding these planets, we'll find resources of some sort. Like, he mentioned there's an objective. Everybody's trying to get to the center of this galaxy for some reason.
Yeah.
So it's a game with a goal of some sort. I mean,
what if Firewatch ends up being like a Friday the 13th thing?
now that would keep me interested, but they haven't given me any reason to expect that.
Right. But I mean, that's the thing is like, I maybe part of the problem is maybe that game is a little too early. Like maybe, they shouldn't have shown it until it was further along, but I'm curious enough to see what it is. I'm much more curious about Horizon and Last Guardian and stuff like that.
I mean, I get the impression that Cuphead is pretty early too, because we've seen so little about it. I guess it was playable and people have said it was crazy hard, but that still didn't keep me from going, wow, I really want to see more Cuphead. That looks great.
Well, sure,
since we're talking about indie titles.
But Cuphead is one of those where you can you look at it and instantly know what it is. Like, oh, it's an action platformer. Like, you've played enough of those to know like this is relevant to my interests.
The animation was so amazing that I had to actually tell my wife when I showed her, I said, that's a video game. That's a platformer. She's like, what? And I said, yeah, watch. This guy's jumping and shooting fireballs. She's like, oh, that's crazy. Like that kind of thing. Like, it looks so good.
Yeah.
Whereas Fortnite or Firewatch, I mean, where you don't even know what genre it is yet. And there's always that little hope that like it could be something completely new.
Yeah.
Or it could just be walk around and, hey, here's a rock. You can flip up every rock in this planet and find underneath it absolutely nothing.
Oh, so the Order 1866 or 1886. Yeah. Watch as we inspect these items in perfect 3D and marvel at the detail. And there's no reason. Let's look at the back of this photo. Oh, there's nothing on this one either. Okay.
Right. On the flip side, you had like Brave Fencer Musashi did that. You could buy, man, am I going back for that? But that just popped in my head where like you could buy these little action figures and then you could open the box and take them out and move them around. And that was all pointless, but it was still like fun to do. I don't know if you remember doing that.
That might actually be more current than you think though now, Julian, because they just started having GameStops that have old games and they're selling them, for $89.99 in some cases and $79.99 and like Chrono Trigger's I think $80.
Well, okay, that actually commands that kind of a price though.
That stuff is still crazy to me though. Like it's funny too. Like so, just today, like randomly, I was thinking about our PlayStation episode that's going to be coming up in September for the 20th anniversary of PlayStation, and I'll talk about it more in depth there. But like, I take pride in the fact that I have probably forgotten more PS1 games than most people have played because I was just so plugged in to that scene through retail. And I was like, and I can still recall so many of them. And I was like thinking about some of the really obscure, crazy Japanese games that came out that would never get published today. And I was like, yeah, there is that one where all you do is use bombs. Like you don't have anything else besides bombs. And I was like, oh yeah, Silent Bomber. So then I looked it up on Amazon. It was going for like $115. And I was like, holy crap.
You used to own that?
I did.
Oh, ouch.
Wow.
Yeah. I used to own a lot of games that are worth a lot of money. I mean, I owned Panzer Dragoon Saga. So I bought it because, I mean, it was when it came out, it was super limited. And I grabbed a copy and I beat it in a weekend because it's super short, guys. Super short. And then I traded it in because I kind of wanted to pay it forward. I was like, okay, they only made, like, I forget, it was like 50,000 of these or something. It was some ridiculously low number.
I think it was 15.
It might have been.
I don't know. It was like a crazy low number.
And at the time, I wasn't a collector. At the time, I was just playing games, finishing them, getting rid of them. And I was like, okay, I had this experience. It was great. Let me trade it into the store. Let somebody else have the experience. And that's what I did. Kind of regret it now. But
because now you can't have that experience again.
Oh, and I couldn't anyway. I don't have a Saturn anymore, but I could have the experience of selling it for like $1,000.
Well, they're selling consoles too now, so it's pretty. You could get back into it.
Yeah, or I could have just sold it.
If you need to get a Saturn, I know where you could get one right across the street from where I work.
Yeah, or I could have just sold it for $1,000. I don't think you're getting my regret here, Patrick. It's
I know.
Yeah, but it's just going to keep going up if you hold on to it. I wouldn't sell it until you're like 80.
Well, no, because then I can't enjoy the money. Like, I could actually use that money to help get out of debt right now. which is why I had that struggle constantly of like, I could sell all this stuff. And like, I'm not saying I would get out of debt, but it'd make a decent chunk out of it. It actually wouldn't do. I don't have like a crazy rare collection. I've just got a lot of games, but there's a few in there. I could probably get a good 2,000 or 3,000 if I sold everything, and that'd make a nice little dent in stuff. But then I would feel really bad later on, and would probably still be in debt. Yeah. So I hold on to it for now.
But if you hold on to it, you might actually make money someday, because there's going to be a point where there's just not physical copies that just go mostly all digital, and then only like legendary or special editions are going to be out because of, I don't know, environmental problems or something like that. There's going to be something new if it's not just digital, but these games will be way more valuable 40, 50 years down the line. It won't be soon, like PS1 to PS2, but like PS3 to PS8.
I don't even want to think about PS8. Oh, that's just we wouldn't
just
even
think about like
around.
Sure,
yeah, I guess we would. What with Cybernet?
Well, PS8 will just be a box that streams everything and puts it on your TV.
No, it'll be a box that streams everything into your brain.
Or TV. That.
Yeah, and people will be like, "Oh my gosh, you buy stuff that's out of your brain." You've got something that's out of your brain. I heard people pay money for that. That is outrageous.
So that's so quaint. Just like this podcast. Because we need to wrap it up, because I need to get this thing done, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. This is the shortest episode of Nerds Without Pants we've had in a long time. Some of you will probably appreciate that, but I think we've kind of hit our groove around the 2-hour-ish mark these days. But it unfortunately is what it is. This week is just really crazy for me, and I'm the one who does the editing. So, we're going to go ahead and head out. But once again, one last plea, would love to hear from you guys for episode 75. It could be just a minute to 2 minutes. You know what? It could be 5 minutes, because honestly, since we haven't had any yet, like if you want to get a little long-winded, Michael 117, you can go ahead.
Wall of audio.
You can go ahead and send a longer one. I don't mind. Just email that over to my Pixelbit account. That's Julian@pixelbit.com. Subject line NWP75. And look forward to that. It's going to be a really fun show. We've got some special things lined up. We're going to have that best of episode, which I've been spending hours culling through old episodes to find little gems and nuggets and stuff here and there. Some of it's hilarious. Some of it's embarrassing. Some of it is thought-provoking, but it's all entertaining. So look forward to that as well. Before we head out, you can also find us on the Twitter. Patrick.
@SomeBoss.
Angelo.
@ARoguishHand.
And that Kickstarter again, so that you can get in really good with your game shop guy.
Oh, yeah. Name of the game is Alien Labyrinth. Published by Foam Brain Games. Designer is Robert Huss.
Excellent. And you can find me @Julian_Titus. If you want to listen to the wrestling podcast that I do with friend of the show, John Golson, that you can follow @Slam_Masters. Check out the podcast over at guttersandpanels.com. Thank you for listening. And as always, for myself, Patrick, and Angelo, Keep it pantsless, internet. Goodbye.
Riding straight out of your imagination, using my magic to fight against crime, destroying evil with powers most awesome, protecting the weak almost all of the time. But not on Sundays. Game of Thrones is on. Now is the time for a man of conviction. The world needs a hero, and I am that guy.
Look, who is that masked man?
That's Ninja Brian. But shut up about him. Let's focus on me, because
I am the unicorn wizard, riding for justice on the common stars. With the help of a sidekick, Princess Angelo, I'm more awesome and smarter than I already are. I am the unicorn wizard. My spells are amazing and my reflex is quick. My horn is my strength and my strength is my power, and my power is my horn, and my horn is my dick.
here's your opportunity to stop listening if this song got too amazing for you. No? Okay.